How do we make this work? There's a community that needs a team.
We deserve Major League Baseball. If you're for baseball, please sign.
I'm not sure how many of us really took seriously that Colorado could get a Major League Baseball team.
That is the sneak peek. It's been 30 years of Rockies baseball, and it's all being commemorated by a new documentary with our friend.
By Kyle Dyer. How about this? She's joining us, and of course, everybody knows her and remembers her for being on the mornings for, I don't know, how many years?
Like 18, 20 years total.
I was going to
here.
say a while.
Long time.
But this is something so cool and so different, but so important to Colorado that people need to know about it.
I moved here in '96 when Coors Field was a year old. You know, I just knew we had a team. I think so many people move here and just think, oh, we've always had a team.
Yeah.
Right.
But we didn't get them like the way we got the Nordiques went under, we got the Avalanche. This was a community push to convince Major League Baseball, we're not a cow town, we love baseball, we will support a Major League team. And so it's really the can-do spirit, determined resiliency of so many people in our state to convince Major League that our time was then.
I think the heartbeat in the town and the state was for Major League Baseball, but you have to put it on paper. You know, you have to get politicians, you have to get votes, you have to get people lined up to spend money. And even though they played those first 2 years at Mile High Stadium, it was the building of Coors Field that was what they actually had to put on paper and tell MLB, we're going to build you a ballpark.
Right, because we had a minor league team, the Bears, that played in the old Mile High. And Major League Baseball was like, you want us to give you a team and you play in a football stadium? No. So there was a tax that went before voters, that went to the state legislature and then before voters saying, hey, would you give a cent for every $10 to pay for a new baseball stadium if Major League Baseball says yes? And it was not supposed to pass the legislature. It did. It was not supposed to pass the 6-county metro area. Didn't pass in Denver County or Adams County, but there was enough support from the others that we got a team.
It was a different time when you think about where politically people felt, and anytime you bring up a tax, period, it doesn't really matter, but it transformed lower downtown.
It did. You know, it had two recessions, depressions, whatever you want to call it, in the 80s. The oil industry went bust. We had the highest foreclosure rate in the country at the time. Who's going to want to tax themselves? And there were conservatives in the state legislature that were like, no way, including the woman who sponsored this bill, because Kathy Williams saw the greater good of people coming together and having a place to go to have a great time. And so that's why she sponsored this bill. And I think people realize, I mean, I say to people now, could you imagine if we didn't have that at 20th and Blake?
And then there's that little fairy dust, the magic that I see in sports all the time, with Eric Young in the first game at Mile High Stadium and Dante Bichette at Coors Field in extra innings, and those magic moments that everyone remembers the beauty of the game and the sports that do bring us together. It galvanizes a community.
Yes, and you know, we talked with Eric Young. He came and he's coming for our premiere this week. He hit a home run, first at bat, first game ever. He didn't hit another home run to the last game of that season. He was not a home run hitter.
No.
Right? And for Dante, there were 14 innings, and it was so cold. Most of the people left for that first game at Coors Field, and he hit the home run to win the game. So we have those highlights too, and some highlights from other big moments in Rockies. But with every person I talk, every player I spoke with, every highlight, the point was to show the community reacting, or to hear the players talk about what it felt to have the community behind us.
We're looking at you and Julie. We saw you with Senator Hickenlooper as well. Some of the amount of digging you had to do. There's EY. 9
News was a huge partner, sponsor in terms of providing us video. We went through so many tapes. There are no tapes anymore, everybody. There's so many tapes to find old footage, and I think that's what really makes this story sing. We interviewed 39 people, and they all brought their A game. We're so excited to talk about when Colorado went Major League, but the video transports you to the late 80s and 90s.
So I know everyone we're talking about, they're getting excited. How do they see it? How will they get a chance to watch it when it runs?
So the first time it's going to show is Thursday night at McGregor Square, down by the Coors Field. Anybody can come, because every Thursday night they have movie nights there. Free, bring your blanket. There's the food court, and you can get drinks. And then 9 News is going to show it this Saturday night over on Channel 20 at 7 o'clock. And it's going to be streamed there, streamed at the Rockies website. And some other TV stations in town were like, wait, this is a great community story. We want to show it too.
They should.
But yeah.
Did they, I'm curious, did everybody say this lived up to their expectations, having Major League Baseball, or did it exceed it?
I think it exceeded it in terms of what happened to downtown. We talked to Senator Hickenlooper. When he opened the Wing Coop, he was the first person to open a restaurant in 5 years in downtown Denver.
That's right.
And he said by the time Coors Field opened, they were doing okay. Business went up 50% during the summer, but it stayed in the fall and the winter because people were coming downtown and seeing how fun it is. Oh, look at that new refurbished building. Look at Larimer Square. This is a fun place to go. I'm going to come down to lower downtown. And so I think, would we have Rhino to what it is today if we didn't have Logo?
Sure.
I mean, so many different neighborhoods that have kind of splintered off of what is lower downtown.
And then you look at this year's team, obviously having a tough year, but the ebbs and flows of sports franchises. I always get to do the show with Jim Sacamano about the days gone by in Broncos history. So even if you're having a 5-win season, people can reflect and remember on the Elway years or the Mecklenburg play or things like that. And it's the same with Rockies baseball. For the people who maybe are newer to the team, the understanding, that feeling, that excitement that did exist.
Bombers.
We'll get there. I think we will get there. Everyone I've met within the organization, from the people who are in charge of selling the season tickets, even that first year was a piece of paper, and they just kind of used a ruler to put where everybody was sitting. From the season ticket holders to the people who accept tickets at the games, the front office, the people behind the scenes you don't know. It's a great organization, and I think they really appreciate that Denver fought to bring the Colorado Rockies here.
When Colorado went Major League, we'll get a chance to see it finally this week. All your work finally is going to be put in front of people. I know it's going to be exciting.
We started our interviews last August, so here we are.
Well, I'm sure they're going to come up with a new one for you after this, Kyle. It'll be good.
You can partner with me on that one, Kim.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm good with it.
It's a good offer. It's great to have you back in the studio, too.
Oh, it's fun to be
Always nice
here.
to have you back in.
You.
All right.
Thanks for
Sweetheart.